Well, the Namibians in good voice, passion etched on their faces. This is a big encounter for them, up against the Irish. Dark horses possibly for a World Cup title. Let's see how the Irish respond. The Irish, as always, in good voice. The formalities are over. Time for Ireland to open their account. Let's join our commentators, Murray Mexted, and first, John Taylor.
Thank you, Martin. Well, it's a glorious evening here in Bordeaux. In fact, the sun just setting over the stand opposite us. And Ireland have picked just about their strongest 15 to kick off their World Cup campaign against Namibia. The forwards exactly as expected. Captain Brian O'Driscoll's fit to take his place in the centre after that sinus injury. Andrew Trimble moves to the wing, Gervin Dempsey to fullback. Now, Namibia have had a troubled build-up since qualifying. They changed their coach 2 months ago, and he's brought in plenty of new blood. Centres are both winning only their second caps. It's a new half-back combination, and only the captain, Keith Lensing, who's played for the Bulls and the Sharks in South Africa and leads in the English Premiership, has any real top-class experience. The referee, Joël Jutge, from France. And here we go. It really is fabulous weather. Been very, very warm all day, and it's still pretty warm down there on the field, Murray.
Indeed, indeed. 20 degrees, in fact.
Ireland kicking off up to the 22, safely gathered in. Little Eugene Yankees, the youngest player on the Namibian team at scrum half, clearing from the base of the scrum.
Well, what an education to be able to commentate on Namibia. Listen to a national anthem I've never heard before. And I do notice, though, that there's a sun on their flag, and there's plenty of sun in Namibia. I have actually played there, John, believe it or not, in Windhoek.
So have I, actually.
Oh.
Very, very long time ago.
So Ireland taking it up. This is the area where they'd have to have an advantage, just controlling the ball, hitting the advantage line.
Good spirit, though, from the Namibians, just trying to rock them back. Stringer puts it to O'Gara, who tries to put it back to the corner. It's bouncing nicely. And a defensive line out for Namibia.
Yes, it'd have to be a clean take, otherwise they're going to be driven backwards here. Any ball off the top, I would say, would be dangerous. So short line out, interesting choice.
Yeah, they've got two real string beans. Kathombiaze number 4 and Esterhazy number 5. It goes to Esterhazy, tallest man in the side.
Well,
This is where Ireland can drive.
They did well, really. They won the ball, but then they weren't quick enough to support. But you're right, John. I went down and watched the line-out practice, actually, and they've got a guy who's 2 metres and 5, and another chap who's over 2 metres. I mean, they're very tall locks, but they're not carrying much weight on them, actually. Look, about 100 kgs.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in old pounds and stones, 16.3 and 15.12, 103 k's and 101. Not very big for second rows these days. Away goes Trimble. Stringer in there at the base of the ruck, clears it to O'Gara, puts it wide. Well, a little slip pass really from Darcy, going to nobody, and away came Sienical.
And the crowd delights, because of course they're not favoured, are they, Namibia?
Behind that's O'Gara back. He came outside his 22, can't go straight to touch. The kick goes up from Ryan Witbooi. Nicely gathered in by...
With no pressure at all, really, was there? Just one chaser, that's it.
Stringer did well, though, to get the ball away to Hickey. And Ireland can get some shape back. Stringer busy in again. O'Gara puts it wide. They've got space if they can get away. O'Driscoll does just that. Oh, and away goes Gervin Dempsey. Stringer back in place. Oh, the chip and go from O'Driscoll, the captain. Is he going to open the campaign? He is indeed. What a start. Remember, he was in doubt for this game with that sinus injury, but what a way to kick off his campaign, Murray.
Fantastic. It had to be John O'Driscoll. He's the superstar. He's the world-class player in this Irish combination. But have they shown the ability to find space right in the first couple of phases of this game? And I'd worry if I was supporting Namibia in this stadium, because normally you would think it would be tight for the first 10 minutes. It's certainly not that. Brian O'Driscoll, what a man. But even before this movement, they found space on the left-hand flank. And again, very difficult, isn't it, for these Namibian players? They don't play at this intensity very often at all.
No, and it is very much a new combination, Murray. Hakkes Husselman, the coach, only replaced Johan Venter a couple of months ago. He reckons they've had pretty good preparation, but the only sort of friendly match they had was against South Africa, and they lost that 105-13. O'Gara on target too with the conversion, 7-0 to Ireland.
Because they have got a number of players who do play in South Africa. I think he was telling me that they kick ahead, and there was just nobody back there. See, positional play also would be an issue, I guess, for these Namibian players.
Plenty of time to clear for O'Gara, and a little knock on by Heine Bock, one of their more experienced players. Well, it's okay, says Joël Jutge.
Well, they drove over that well too.
And a drop goal attempt from Emil Wessels.
Of course, one of the problems you have with a side like this, when you're playing in a big match environment like we have here, is the likelihood of kicking the ball too often. I've seen it already tonight. They've had 2 or 3 occasions, and every time they've kicked it. And you really got to hold on to possession these days and recycle it and get a bit of go forward. Otherwise, you'll be chasing all night.
Yeah, I think Murray, the thing we've seen is that some of the lesser sides have really learned that lesson and started taking the ball up. They know they've got to actually take the game to the strong sides. It's no good just trying to hang on and defend all the game.
I think that was marvellous. We saw the Samoans do that to the South Africans today, and they really tried to play. I mean, even Italy against the All Blacks had a crack, scored a couple of very good tries, should have got a third.
Well, a penalty to Namibia. They're going to go for goal. This is Emil Wessels. This will take him past 50 points for the country. It doesn't actually compare at all with Ronan O'Gara, who's got 760 points, but it would be quite a landmark for him.
Well, that's just another example, isn't it, John? Really, I guess, of the difference between the sides. Big kick, but there's no wind at all. Sun setting in the west.
Well, he's got plenty of distance, no problems with that at all, but misses on the right post.
Well, it must be the theme for the World Cup, these waves. We've now got a Bordeaux wave, a half a Bordeaux wave.
Pretty good crowd here. 34,000 the stadium holds, and we're just about full. Really good crowd. The French taking the World Cup to their hearts and turning out in numbers. Great to see. A lot of Irishmen here as well, of course. Not too many Namibians. O'Gara just pushing it away to TC Losper.
Pretty aimless sort of a kick though by O'Gara, I thought. And that was worse.
Yes, he didn't really deserve to benefit from that, did he, O'Gara? But he did. And Ireland have an attacking line out on the Namibian 10-metre line.
Well, they're a good side, Ireland, but it's a matter of how good they are. Are they good enough to compete with the big boys? That's what I want to know, and I guess this is one way of finding out.
Donica O'Callaghan off the top. Oh, but that was poor passing along the back division. The combination straight off the work, but the throw wasn't straight, and so it'll be a scrum down to Ireland. They're lucky again.
Yeah, it wasn't straight, but combination. You spoke about combination, John. You're dead right. I mean, you need combination. Not only good rugby players, and in this Irish team we've got a lot of good rugby players, but combination, fluidity, continuity, those sorts of things are vital when it comes to the big matches.
In fact, it was an Irish throw, and Joël Jutge was a bit kind to Ireland, because I thought Namibia might take advantage there. Instead, he's pulled them back for the scrum. Now, this is a real test. The front row for Namibia is actually quite weighty, looks quite strong. Kees Lensing, Hugo Horn and Yane du Toit, but the rest of the scrum looks very, very out-muscled. The captain, O'Driscoll. O'Gara, Trimble, taken back inside by Marcus Horan, sets it up for Ireland. Stringer, O'Gara again, put it wide, and that's Lemmy, David Lemmy, the big number 8, thumping through to the 22. Stringer digs it out, O'Gara, well defended by Namibia that time. Back again. O'Driscoll, oh, and beautiful little pass, putting Rory Best into the gap, and a nudge forward. Not quite going to hand at the moment.
No, he's a good player, Lemmy, though, with ball in hand. You can see that, runs really well. Big break down the centre of the field. Well, just the support play, really offloading in the tackle. It's I guess the biggest difference in rugby in the last couple of years is almost every top team can half break a tackle and offload, whereas a few years ago you'd be setting it up, starting again. Pretty good sort of a scrum for Namibia. Oh, going back now.
Well, they've rescued it somehow, held on, and they've now got a little bit of space to clear. Wessels with the kick. It's not going to make touch. Hickey underneath it. Big hit, well done by Witboy. And into touch.
It was a big hit, all right. Look at him. I don't think he's hit. So he was physically drilled. Had his eye on the ball, didn't see the defender. Tell you what, he looks stunned, a little bit like I saw a Samoan player pull off a tackle like that today.
Brian Lima.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dennis Hickey retiring after the World Cup. He won't want to be retiring this early. Well, once they got the OK, quickly taken by Ireland, the urgency about them. They know they want to score a hatful of points here because this group could easily come down to point scored differences. On goes the drive down the middle. And again, Stringer looking for quick ball. It wasn't quite as quick as he wanted. Darcy flips out of one tackle. Trying to get that continuity. It came out the side. It's a little knock forward, and in fact the Namibian player coming in from the side, it was the number 8 Jacques Burger, and a penalty to Ireland.
He was a bit unlucky. The ball sort of popped out, but the referee said he wasn't behind the last man in the ruck.
And Ireland making their intentions clear straight away. Not interested in the 3 points. They want tries.
Oh, it's going to be a full line out too. This will be interesting. I'm sure they're going to take it down and drive. They need a good drive. Worst case scenario with a drive, if you don't make it, of course, is you can produce some go forward ball for a backline attacking. Look at the Namibians, have driven them backwards.
They've obviously targeted that one. Murray did really well.
Extremely well.
O'Connell there to set it all up, and they hope they'd sort of do a typically European style changeover. O'Connell still got it, driving on, and they're getting some momentum again. Leamy goes in to add his considerable weight. Stringer puts it wide. O'Gara wide again, and wide, very wide. O'Driscoll, and knocked on by Hickey. And another try-scoring opportunity goes begging. Advantage Namibia at the moment. They know this is a free ball. Still playing advantage as the referee. They can afford to take a couple of chances here. Losper clears the ball, and the referee says that is advantage over.
I wonder if Hickey's all right, because that was a sitter. The pass was perfect in the bread basket, and he spilled it.
Absolutely right. Nothing wrong with that. I thought at first it was perhaps a poor pass from Gervin Dempsey, but no way. He obviously was still shaken up from that tackle by Witbooi. This is TC Losper. Oh, sorry, it's the number 8 Burger.
Jacques Burger. He'd be a pretty good footballer, this guy, actually. Too high there. Body position far too high.
Losper and Burger are the wild men of the team, country boys who enjoy the long hair and the wild locks.
So Ireland realising that they've got a bit of stiff opposition when it comes to driving.
O'Driscoll again, setting it up. Stringer just flips it away. Pops it to Simon Easterby. He takes it up again. It's the arm is out. I think Ireland playing advantage for the penalty, and quickly taken by Stringer. Not waiting. They won't back 10. So the very least they'll get is another kick 10 meters on. And Joël Jutge signals exactly that. So the penalty now 5 meters out from the Namibian line. It's an easy kick for goal, but again it looks as if Ireland are going to go for the try.
Well, you'd have to say, how could they not score? They're going to take the points.
No, change their mind.
Well, of course, you mentioned before, John, it is an issue with Argentina winning against France. Then it could come down to points. Bonus points, perhaps, but if not points. So they need to rattle up a big score here against this side, because You'd imagine if they're the weakest side in the competition, as the competition goes on, they'll become more and more tired. And I'd say that the last couple of matches they'll get a real tonking.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the worries as well for Ireland. They have got two very, very easy matches first up, and they're probably going to get the best performances out of Namibia and Georgia.
And also, I think they're playing France, aren't they, before they play Argentina? So France will be wanting to have a victory, I would imagine.
Yeah, Eddie O'Sullivan, the Irish coach, was very interesting on this one. He said, well, you know, you can think it every way round. You can go dizzy if you try and think, is it good for us, bad for us, or what? We just got to go out there and play well and win well.
That doesn't sound very Irish. It sounds quite logical.
They're very professional these days. Penalty Ireland.
Your legs here. Your legs are wet, please. They cannot play. Please. I don't. No. Don't talk.
Yes, I just looking at the Irish players. The tempo is really low. It's sometimes hard to pick up a tempo when you can feel the team you're playing aren't as strong as they could be. But the key, of course, to going on and winning, because I'm sure the Irish fancy themselves, is to really lift the tempo yourself. You set the standard.
Yeah, I think the one thing they'll need to do is to pick that up, because it wasn't the best build-up. They sent a second team down to Argentina and lost twice down there, but then they lost to Scotland and they only just beat Italy. So they do need a real thumping performance here to get the momentum back. Now it's happening for them. There's Hickey. Hickey this time stepping. Can he get past Losper? No, he can't. And a slow ball again. Penalty to Ireland. There were hands in the ruck. That was better from Dennis Hickey.
So I'm sure they won't be kicking the goal here. I'm sure they'll be putting it out in the corner and trying to drive over from the line out. Or maybe not drive over with what's happened the last couple of times. They did have a go, and they got beaten twice, really, which actually isn't a good sign for Ireland. I mean, that's one of the question marks I would have, is have they got the power and grunt up front when it comes to the big matches?
Well, Hickey has had two try-scoring opportunities. He'll be very anxious, because that try from O'Driscoll, quickly kicked by O'Gara, Trimble's there, and a sucker punch, really. Andrew Trimble out wide. It's a common ploy these days, and the Namibians fell for it.
Well, it is a common ploy. I think the first time I saw it was on the Lions tour of New Zealand a couple of years back, and everybody's doing it these days. The kick pass, I call it, John. That's a little colloquialism from down under, but it's so accurate it's almost like a pass.
Oh, absolutely, and especially sometimes they'll match a big man up against a small man and give him a better than 50-50 chance, but in that case it was matching him up against nobody.
That's quite logical too when you think about the game moving professional, and what happens, of course, when things go professional. You get better at it, and the accuracy, the time spent practicing these things, even the style of kicking, the kicking, the punt has changed. It's no longer a spiral.
Well, that's the second try, and the first try, by the way, O'Driscoll made him move ahead of Dennis Hickey as Ireland's record try scorer. So Hickey, having missed two chances, will be a bit sore at himself and want to get back on terms. O'Gara misses just past the left post. So it's Ireland 15, Namibia 0, nearly 20 minutes gone.
Yeah, it was spot on the button, all right, but kicks today have to be. I remember we did a statistic in New Zealand rugby a year ago, and only 6% of the kicks were retained. In other words, they got the ball back when they kicked it. So you'd say, why kick it unless it's on the knocker?
Well, that wasn't too clever, the gather in from Ireland. They've got away with it again. This is Yankees, the little scrum half. Back to Wessels. Steepling kick, it's a bit too far, should be taken nicely by Hickey. He puts it wide, and Dempsey can attack down the wing, comes inside. Ireland quickly there. Now they want a quick recycle. Gara. He's improved his running game enormously. Darcy goes down the middle. Oh, and it was just too late on the pass, and the hooker Rory Best couldn't take it. Counter from Namibia.
Got a go forward ball, Namibia. No. Oh, through the centre. There he goes again. Lost his jersey.
Yankees and a little lazy run back from Donica O'Callaghan, but he got away with it because the referee had already blown for a knock forward, and it's a scrum down to Ireland.
I've never seen a jersey come off so easily. Look at that. It's like stripped. Jerseys are somewhat different than they used to be. I see this fabric is almost like a lycra.
This is the Darcy break, and he just popped that up too high for Rory Best. And away came Berger. I know Sienical there. They played him deliberately in the back row. He often plays at second row for them, but they thought they needed a bit of extra beat.
Well, he's a huge man, isn't he? That he is. You're right. He's 198, so he would be a loss. But there's no point having a loose forward walking around like that.
And he's very reluctant, but I think he knows he's got to go. Right, just giving it a moment. They're going to have another go at getting him right.
Well, I can't quite work this out. Looks like he must have cramp if he's doing that.
Well, just a reminder, our next match is again a Pool D game. Argentina versus Georgia from Lyon on Tuesday at 6:30. Argentina, of course, on top of the world after their victory in the opening match against France, and that's on ITV4. Then, of course, on Friday, it's the big game in Pool A, England versus South Africa from Stade de France. We'll be there from 7:30 on ITV1. Trimble. Cuts inside, big ooh from the crowd, but the tackle certainly wasn't dangerous. O'Driscoll loops it through to the middle, finds O'Connell. Now they've got a few men spare out here if they can find them. Darcy steps.
Release the ball, Blue.
O'Connell again, driving it up the middle. Murray, the ball's just not coming quickly enough for them to really capitalise, is it?
No, I think they're sort of feeling their way a little bit. I mean, both centres are keen to have a go, but they're also moving the ball. It's almost as though they're trying to get a little bit of continuity going. And as you say before, it's the perfect match to do it. The best ball, of course, is good, quick ball.
Michael McKenzie has now come on to replace Heino Sienical. Now, I thought that was going to be the dummy and go. Straight line, route one from Lima. Again, it comes, but not as quickly as they'd have liked. Darcy. And again, just a nudge forward. Leamy was trying to set it back, and a lack of communication. His own man came in and just bumped it forward.
Well, even a bit of a shortage of support there too over the ball. It's the accuracy. It's not just being there. It's actually getting over the ball, protecting that ball. And of course, the player with the ball has to position it in the best possible place. So they're mindful of that these days when players hit the deck, where they put the ball, the readjustment when they place it.
And Jenkins done for feeding his own forwards. Oh, but Ireland again just not making the most of it. Sloppy work between Leamy and O'Connell.
There's a go, this Burger, this number 8 for Namibia.
Losper. And a bit of a scrap on the floor. Rory Best, the Irishman, in there, involved in it. A lot of handbags, though, nothing really slung, and certainly nothing dangerous. Really just trying to clear the ball, and then think we'll have a little bit of afters.
Oh, I think he was just taking exception to being held, that was all.
Best it is with the throw.
It's off the top of his head and lost forward. Well, there's a bit of competition there in the line-out. You'd really think in set play Ireland would dominate this game, both scrum and line-out.
Yeah, I don't think Eddie O'Sullivan will be very pleased with the accuracy so far.
Although that scrum, looking at that scrum, John, that was the first time they really have given it a nudge.
Yeah, got them through the 90 degrees, which gives them the put-in. That's the law. You're not allowed to deliberately wheel, but if it starts to go and you then take them round and push them round past 90 degrees, you get the feed when the scrum's reset.
Did the referee say then, show me with your heart? That's a real French line, isn't it? Of course, the streets will be full of that tonight. Show me with your heart. I like that one.
Oh, this is peculiar. The referee is saying, and now at last Joël Jutge admitting his mistake, and it is an Irish feed.
And the scrum's up. Well, it was a fairly serious scrum Namibia have put down. 2 out of these 3 players in the front row play Currie Cup. And they're equal in weight to the Irish front row.
Yeah, I mean, Keith Lensing is a serious lump. I mean, he's 122k. That's a big man.
Yeah, it is a big man.
Stringer goes away around the blind side. Links inside to Leamy. O'Connell gets away from one man, sets it up. Now they want this one quickly. On goes the drive. They've got some support there at last. And now Stringer feeds the backs. O'Gara wide to O'Driscoll. He's well collared. Good tackling by Fonsel. Stringer. Right it goes to David Wallace. We haven't seen much of him so far. And a nudge forward again, just losing the accuracy.
Yes, it's taking the opportunities, isn't it, in the first 15 minutes. What have we played? 27 now. There's been about 4 try-scoring opportunities that they haven't taken. Yet to get their flow. Ireland. Stringer's a little goer, though, isn't he? I was watching him before. He's a real tradesman. Good at his job. There's not much of him, but he's very, very quick thinker and snappy.
Yeah, he's had a terrific career. Looked as if he was never going to really crack it right at the top, but now second most capped Irish player.
It's extraordinary when you look at the size of him. You'd think he wouldn't last, but obviously he's tenacious.
78th cap today. Only Malcolm O'Kelly in front of him. He's on the bench with 87 caps.
Well, another good scrum, Ireland, starting to put the heat on now.
But there'll be alarm bells Murray. 28.5 minutes gone, and it's only 15-0. No disrespect to the Namibians, but they should be putting them away better than this.
Well, I think I remember watching Wales today. Your Wales, John. Well, how was that at half-time? 3 tries to zip, wasn't it?
It was suicide time.
Yeah, who would have believed that? Canada up over Wales by about 8 or 9 points, I think, at half-time.
Yeah, 79. Well, Ireland now, they've got all the forwards in there. They've got good shape. They ought to be able to drive this. Namibia, though, brave. Their training kit says country of the brave. Still driving forward. It's a penalty to Ireland if they need it. They'll be hoping they don't. One more thrust and they should be there, just a metre short. And they're over. We'll have to wait to see who peels off, to see who comes up with it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It might have been O'Connell, perhaps. But it was through the centre. Right through the centre. Well, they put up a bit of stiff opposition, Namibia. They held them out. It's quite a good area of their game, I think. Either that or Ireland haven't got it together.
Well, it looks as if Simon Easterby's claiming it. And Easterby, the flanker, plays his club rugby for Llanelli in Wales. Actually hails originally from Harrogate, but an Irishman through and through, and he's another hugely experienced player. This is 59th cap today.
Gary, well, he's an Irishman through and through, but he was born in San Diego, I see. How does that work?
Ooh, and kicking that towards San Diego rather than the posts.
I reckon he heard me.
That was a wild one. Still another try, a third try for Ireland. Remember, there's a bonus point when they score 4. That shouldn't really be an issue in a game like this. But they lead now 20 points to 0. Half an hour gone.
So Ireland need to take it in, set up a good platform, move it forward, and then move it and find space. And Namibia, they need to pull the ball in and get hold of it for a while and not give it away.
Losber, the fullback, with the kick-off, and Leamy bounces one off and now takes it up outside the 22. That's better ball. Quick ball, bit of pace there. Chance to link. Stringer again. Now they've got some wide ball. The pass just wasn't good enough again. Counter for Namibia.
And a bit of a drive.
The interesting thing, Murray, is that Namibia do look pretty fit. Talking to Haki's Husselman yesterday, he said that they benefited from this scheme the IRB now have. They had actually seconded to them a fitness coach and a forwards coach. And he said, we've worked really, really hard in the last couple of months and we're going to feel the benefits of that.
But even so, you've got to have match fitness. You've got to play big games that are intense and the pressure's on. You've got to push yourself when you're under pressure. When the tanks are empty, that's the way you really get match fitness. So I would expect a side like this that don't have that opportunity very often to really, really tire in the last 20 minutes.
Yankees, yes, puts a nice little kick deep into the Irish 22. The snag is it'll obviously be an Irish throw-in, but it puts the pressure on.
Yeah, well, that's the problem, really, wasn't it? I mean, it was average ball, I guess, in the scrum, but it was well fed by Berger. And I really thought he should have run then. Because now, Irish ball, as you say.
Yeah, they've got the luck, though, because Ireland didn't throw in straight, so it'll now be a Namibian scrum.
So, best attacking position of the game for Namibia. Let's see what they've got.
Yeah, you can see perfectly correct decision from the touch judge.
With a 6-man line out. So, 1 is at 2 off, 5.
The side throwing in sets the numbers in the line out, so Ireland just adjusting to make sure they match it.
Berger. And they've got it, and they're trying to drive. And the crowd are with them.
Giving it absolutely everything. And they've got a bit of momentum. And the crowd love it. Oh, terrific stuff. Did Ireland collapse it?
Where's the ball?
That went backwards, said the referee.
See, that's the problem, isn't it, when you drive like that? Now the ball's got to be at the back of the drive so that when it does hit the ground, you can still get it back.
Ireland under pressure for a moment. They've got the scrum now and should get a chance to clear their ground, but that wasn't really in the script as far as they were concerned.
So almost looked like Namibia were having a crack at the Irish scrum here. Remember, it's Ireland ball, 5 metres out. This would be the time to put the heat on. Are they up to it?
Leamy comes off the back, doesn't get far. O'Gara back in the pocket. Decent kick from him, but he doesn't find touch. Terrific driving run. And Namibia really giving it everything. The crowd love it. Yankees again. Wessels now. This is the new boy, Langenhoven.
Well, they certainly know how to take it to them.
And again, they've driven it in. Everybody in there. The fullback. On up goes Nieuwenhuis.
Over the top.
Oh, and a penalty, Namibia. It was a ruck, and there were hands in it.
Well, I guess this is the way it is, John, isn't it? A World Cup, that's the wonderful thing about it. The crowd get behind the underdog, and you can really feel it here. And I think the players can too. I thought one of them was going to kick, and then he heard the crowd, and so he tucked it under his arm and just had a go.
Yeah, a few people worried about no contests in some of these matches involving the minnows, as it were, but this is, whatever else it is, it's a contest.
And sometimes it just needs a lucky break and a try to be scored, and the spirits rise, and then they're even more of a handful for someone favoured.
Oh, and there goes the big drive. They really are after a try. They could easily have gone for the posts from there, but instead they want to try. In goes the drive again. Back it comes on the Namibian side. And Ireland almost caught again, but they hold them out. Chance to drive again. O'Connell getting over there legally, but then told to release when it was on the floor. On goes the drive again.
Oh, it's good defence, Ireland, though. They really don't look like making it, do they?
Oh, and then the chance as it comes back. A little knock forward from Wessels. He'll be furious.
They're well under control, really. Ireland never in doubt there. Namibia were having a crack. There's no doubt about it, they're having a go, but it just looked to me like that defensive line wasn't going to break. In fact, they were getting driven backwards, really.
Wessels, one of the more experienced players. He's a rugby development officer down in Australia. Most of the time plays his rugby in Canberra. Penalty Ireland, and the danger now will be cleared. And the captain, Keith Lensing, penalised. Referee telling him to stay up. Keith Lensing almost had an Irish connection. He was supposed to join London Irish. Oh, a massive effort from Oh, for a moment he thought that was Losper, the fullback, launching a mighty drop goal effort from halfway and wide out. And my goodness, he hit it well, Murray.
Well, it's a big kick, isn't it? It's ambitious. It's about 60 metres on the angle. I'd say 55 anyway. It had plenty of length.
Had a spell with the Griquas academy team in South Africa. Quickly taken. The referee says now the line out was formed. He wants it to go back to that. You can take a quick line out, providing it's the same ball. But if the referee has said the line out is formed, then you can't do it. Again, we've got a...
Well, there's a bit of feeling there.
Again, I think the feeling was an unnecessary hit. I think it was Chaban-Delmas. And the Irish boys thought, well, we can't have that. We'd better do something about it. Off the top by Easterby. Darcy again stepping in, but that midfield defence from Namibia is good. Driven up by Horan. And he held on, he got himself isolated and had to hold on, and he's penalised by Joël Jutge.
Well, they want the points, Namibia. Decent sort of a kick, but on a still night.
Yeah, Vessel's going for it this time.
Well, what he's ruled is that he didn't release the ball. Players, of course, over the top on their feet have all the rights.
Well, that's about 42 metres right in front as the half comes to a close. Launches it, and right on the stroke of half-time, Namibia are on the board. Big cheers from the crowd. They love it. It's not going quite the way that Ireland would have wanted it. 3 tries, O'Driscoll, Trimble and Easterby. They lead 20 points to 3. Well, it's a long walk from the dressing rooms. And we're still waiting for the teams together. We know they're on the way. The Irish replacements out there on the field, just running through their moves. I can see a few of them being called on if things don't improve rapidly. Here come the Namibians. They must be, Murray, pretty pleased with their first half.
Well, I think the Namibians would be very pleased to be at this stage, but really I don't think it's Namibia. I think it's Ireland that are the reason for that. They're just not stringing it together, not creating any power or aggression going forward from line-outs. They're doing a little bit in the scrums, and they're certainly not producing go-forward ball that their backs are running onto and sticking the movements together. I think they'd be pretty disappointed at half-time, John. I mean, it's pretty obvious as soon as they get the ball in space, then they're going to cut these guys to pieces, but really it's that power play that they've got to get into their game.
And just when they do get some momentum going, there's one inaccurate pass that actually loses everything, and they certainly must be disappointed at this stage. But that's really been the story of their build-up. I mean, in June they sent a second team down to Argentina and they lost both tests down there. That wasn't too much of an alarm because it was a second team. Then they lost to Scotland 31-21, and that would have set alarm bells ringing. And then their final warm-up match, they beat Italy 23-20, but only with a very controversial Ronan O'Gara try right at the death. And they just haven't really been able. They looked very powerful all the while as they came through to the end of last season. And we thought in the British Isles, I think, that they were probably the dark horses who could go furthest of the British and Irish teams in the competition.
Well, all of Ireland will be saying, let's hope they haven't peaked too early and they're saving themselves for the World Cup.
Limi did well, took it. O'Gara. Have they thought things through at half-time? Away goes O'Driscoll, he's looking for support inside. Hickey again, can't take the overhead pass.
That's what you're talking about, John, because that was dynamic right from the start. They moved the ball quick. O'Driscoll on the outside, very calculated, but he should have taken that in, Hickey. I mean, it was like a little basketball pass, wasn't it, over the top?
Yeah, just the little push pass. Bradley Langenhofen was shadowing him, and again, you know, did he take his eye off the ball?
But you know, the first half will be history if they really put it together in the second half, and I'm expecting them to do that. I'm just waiting for them to do that.
Berger picks it up at the base of the scrum for Namibia. Everything went down, and the referee says we've got to start again.
Well, Berger having all sorts of trouble at the back of that scrum. It almost disintegrated. Both his locks are down.
Jantjies with the feed. And Ireland have really got the screw on this time. This time it is a penalty, and the Namibians lifted the scrum deliberately to try and get out of trouble, went up hoping to get it reset, and the referee's having none of it. Penalty to Ireland.
So, I mean, that's the start of it, isn't it, for Ireland? Domination of the opposition scrum. They should be tearing them apart, and looks like they're going to.
Well, he didn't waste an inch there for a moment. I thought O'Gara had committed the sin of missing touch, but the leap by Ryan Witbooi couldn't stop it going in, and Ireland now have a very, very useful attacking position. Line out, throw in.
Well, I'm sure they've been given the message, so I'd expect this to be a pretty complete effort here. Let's have a look. Where are they throwing it? Towards the rear.
Goes to the back, and that's accurate. That's a good start. Horan drives it on, but he's well held. Rock back on his heels. They've gone backwards from the line out at the moment. Back it comes. Slow ball. They're going to have to reset it and go again. Now they've got some go forward. Tremendous drive. O'Connell getting there in the background with O'Callaghan. They go right. O'Gara looking for Hickey inside. It wasn't that accurate. That's O'Connell. The big lock trying to get some go forward, as Murray would say. Hickey going over to the right-hand side to get some ball. The ball was out, says the referee. Namibia perfectly entitled to come in and try and take it, but Ireland still have the scrum.
It's fine, it's fine. The ball is away. For me, the ball is free. No support.
O'Driscoll complaining, but Joël Jutge says no, the ball was free, and I think you got to go with him.
Well, it was sort of lost, but this is a great attacking position because the blind side, there's plenty of blind side. There's nobody on that blind side. So Ireland have got their winger. He's to be right behind the scrum here. And Namibia have still held one player on the short side.
Trimble right back there, the right wing, deciding which way to go. And he comes over to join on the left. Driscoll and Darcy. Back it comes. It wasn't smooth again. The little chip through. O'Driscoll tries to get onto it. Well read. And Losper gets the kick away. The ball's touched, so it would have been a Namibian ball had it gone into touch. Trimble trying to get away. Good trip tackle there from Nieuwenhuis. Well, the ball in the air, it's a maul still. And great result for Namibia. They've got the put in.
Well, I've held them. I've held them out again. I guess that's really what they're trying to do. Although we did see a concerted effort just before half-time of Namibia putting the pressure on Ireland. But really, the rest of the game, they've just been trying to stop them. They haven't had any continuity of possession.
But if Ireland is seriously going to mount a challenge in this group to either Argentina or France, Murray, they've got to be able to deal with spoiling by countries at this level and really just get on with their own game, haven't they?
Well, I don't think they're dynamic enough at the moment if they're going to compete with France and Argentina. They'll really have to lift it. But in saying that, they're aware they're only playing Namibia, and sometimes it's hard to motivate yourself.
Big drive on the scrum and penalty to Ireland, holding on the ground as they were about to complete the turnover.
Although in saying that, I guess you'd have to look at the Australians, who absolutely dominated a weak Japan, and New Zealand, of course, with Italy.
I think that's the worry.
If you're at the Rugby World Cup, you're really self-motivation. That's what it's all about. It's being focused as an individual and as a team, and Ireland aren't yet. Doesn't mean to say they're not going to be, but they're not there yet.
Referee demanding a space down the middle of the line-out, so Ireland will have to re-throw that. Rory Best, one of the Ulster Bests, brother of Simon, and there's also Neil Best, who's no relation, but they all play for the same club up there.
This is a bit better. It was beautifully taking the line out. This is a good drive. Bit high at the front, perhaps, with the balls towards the rear, which is where it should be. And this has gone 15 metres, and then I don't think they're going to stop till they get to the goal line.
Penalty to Ireland. He's playing advantage. They'll want to go all the way from here. They spin off again. And they go back to the original penalty. Stringer with the ball, just waiting for instructions from his captain. Now, what are they going to do?
Well, they're going to score a try. That's what they're going to do.
In fact, they've called the scrum.
So take the scrum, and they'll use, let me see, where are they putting their players? They've got all their players out to the right-hand side. When I see a team doing that, John, I automatically think they're trying to suck the defenders and they're going to run the short side. Very hard to do it on the left-hand side, though.
The great thing about a scrum is it, of course, ties all the forwards down and ties them into that one spot, creates more space. The Namibian front row went down. Now we're getting into dangerous territory. They're 5 meters short. If it happens again, there'll be a warning. In fact, there's a warning now, and we could easily be into penalty try time if it happens again.
Well, Ireland want another scrum, that's for sure.
And they've got it. Hugo Horn, the hooker for Namibia. Leamy has got it between his feet, and they're edging forward. They're edging forward. Oh, and in fact, it's gone down again, and he's given the penalty try. He warned them, and the only way that Namibia were going to stop Ireland there was dragging the scrum down, and Joël Jutge is having none of it. So a penalty try to Ireland, that's their 4th try. That gives them the bonus point, and I guess that was probably their first priority.
Well, yes, I'd say it would. Well read, John. You got that 100% right, but this is part of the game too, of course, is wearing down the opposition, but it's not only physically, it's mentally. And when you do this to an opposition, to a team like Namibia, you'd have to say their spirits would drop. They'd say, oh, they'd be saying next time there's a scrum, oh, we don't want another scrum, you know. When that starts happening, you're really in trouble. So that'd be part of the plan also.
O'Gara wastes no time with the conversion. It's 27-3 to Ireland. But they really have got to use that as a platform, haven't they, Murray? I mean, it's still not there. They haven't come out. They've shown a bit more urgency, but they haven't got the accuracy to go with the dynamic play that they need.
No, let's see what they do from here, whether they take it back at Namibia and the forwards, or whether they just move it like they did from the kick-off, straight to out wide. I hope they take it in and really have a go up front and then move it. was a great kickoff.
Yeah, it was a good kickoff. It was there for the taking, wasn't it?
Oh, they get the ball so high these days, and of course you turn a kickoff into a 50-50 opportunity to win the ball back.
Yeah, one of the great things about the change from a place kick restart to a dropout restart, you can get that ball really high and give plenty of time for your men to get underneath it. Work the short side. But again, the first up tackling from Namibia is good.
Yeah, they haven't split the line, have they? At all, I don't think. They've had the overlap and created space, but haven't split it.
Losper on the counter-attack, hoofs it high, but more crossfield than anything else. O'Driscoll can't take it. Dempsey now has it, and Wallace, it was who fed him. O'Gara, oh, and O'Connell, lovely, oh, but again the take. Darcy within an inch of being away, and that would have split them. Advantage still at the moment to Namibia, and he's called him back.
He's a very confident referee, isn't he? He's quite assertive.
Yeah, I think the only thing I criticise him for is there was still a chance for the advantage for Namibia there, and he sort of goes for advantage, but he doesn't really believe in it.
No, well, I was sort of commenting on that because he sort of was looking and he was thinking, nah, these guys aren't going to break free. Let's not waste time. Let's take it back. Give them the scrum. I think the crowd need a try by Namibia, then they'd go wild.
Yeah, well, I don't think Ireland are playing well enough to really lift them, so it needs something like that to give them something to latch onto. It is, as we said before, a terrific crowd, great turnout here.
Well, the town's full of Irishmen too. They've sort of made it their home. Talking to a few of them today. In fact, here we are in France, the most beautiful food in the world, and you take me to an Irish pub for lunch, John. That's disgusting.
I'm blaming our producer.
Yeah, pass the buck. And of course, we went to the Irish pub. It was full of Irishmen drinking beer at lunchtime.
But we better stress the reason we went. That was the only way we could actually see one of the early games. On the television there, they had everything going, and we couldn't get that particular game on our television service in the hotel.
Yeah, we certainly didn't go there for the lunch. Fish and chips. It's like you get in England.
Paul O'Connell, and there's Brian O'Driscoll, the captain. I think he will be a worried man. I mean, he knows they have got to build and lift again, and they're going to have to intensify their play if they're going to make any sort of inroads against France and Argentina. And Argentina, of course, rampant at the moment. But you've got to say one of the least impressive things really has been the Irish scrummaging, and of course Argentina will attack them there.
Although they are starting to dominate this Namibia side. In fact, they're tearing them apart, really. We've just had a penalty try. And the last, I think, on 2 occasions, Namibia put the ball and they failed to clear. So that changes the possession stakes big time when that happens. Good platform.
Oh, it's gone down again, but you see this suits Namibia in a way. 27-3. They'll think's very respectable after that 105-13 thrashing in August. I have to confess, we had the statistics books out looking for record scores for this one, and we put them away again. It's going to be nowhere near.
But I think one thing's very clear for me, that the second and third tier countries that are here at this Rugby World Cup are that much more competitive, fit and more skilled than they have ever been in the past. When I compare them to how they were at the very first World Cup, there's just no comparison.
And that has got to be great to see. Stringer finds O'Gara. He's putting the kick wide. Barrels it into touch. That's a good touch. Puts the Namibians under pressure. They'll have the throw into the line out, but they do need to clear it.
Because I was thinking about this game, John, before I came along, and I was looking at the stats, the two teams, and I thought, oh, this is just going to be one-way traffic. There'll be 100 points in this. And then I went down and watched the Namibian side warming up, and I watched their drills, and it was very, very professional. It was like watching any team in the top league. They were snappy, and they were being drilled by a South African who was really giving them the message, by the way, as you can imagine. They're taskmasters, those boys. And they seem to be reacting. They seem to have good skills. Their line-out drills were good.
Well, I don't think it was meant to go to the back of the line out, but it was Yane du Toit who came up with the ball. And it's still being turned over, though, by Ireland. Now, O'Gara going nowhere, but they've got another chance to set it up. That's better ball this time, a bit more space. Donica O'Callaghan.
Well, it wasn't really on that way. They've got to move it back the open side, but they've got to get some go-forward ball first. And they, in fact, counter-rucking by Namibia. They've turned it over, I think.
Absolutely. They have, and they've got the penalty. A right mess of that. Donica O'Callaghan really taking the wrong option. Instead of moving it on, he got in between O'Gara and O'Driscoll.
In between the O's. So you can just see how the counter-rucking worked. It's because they didn't really have enough players on their feet over the ball, Ireland.
Well, Ireland got the hand to it. O'Callaghan trying to atone, but again, it was poor ball and it's worked against them. Hickey comes up with it. Now, can he get away? Not quite. And again, Ireland just held up as they thought they might break clear. And a penalty given away, diving in over the top to try to secure it.
And they'll be kicking the goal, these boys. They want points on the board. They've got 3, they can double their score.
Also uses up a nice little bit of time for them.
Oh, listen, they're not going to kick for goal. They're kicking for touch. Oh, they must back themselves to score a try.
The confidence is growing.
Good on them. Well, they're getting hammered in the scrums, and I guess they're relying on their line-out now to get them some ball. So it'll be very interesting to see if where Ireland compete at this line-out. It's inside the 22. He didn't grab as much depth as he should have. But will Ireland jump in 2 pods? Well, they didn't really compete at all.
And it was Berger who came up with it. Fed by Horn, the hooker trying to dummy and go was Witbooi.
He's a likely-looking lad, Witbooi.
Penalty, Namibia again. It's Yuri Fantonder is on at scrum half now for them. And Johnny Redlinghuis is the number 17 carrying it up. Fantonder gets it away again there. Wide, and Losper joins the line, almost away. But Ireland have turned it over.
Oh, that's the difference. Namibia with a bit of space on the outside, but they couldn't outflank them, and then they turned it over.
There's the kick pass again. It was just too long. Well, no, it wasn't just too long, says the touch judge. I have to say, I thought there was a foot in touch there.
Yeah, it looked like it to me too. But they've made a mistake before, you know, touch judges over the years.
1 or 2.
Well, his foot was on the line. Whether he cleared the ball inside would be debatable. So string up. He seized the opportunity, he didn't try and clear. He looked for his supporting player, found Leamy, and then the forwards over the top. Then they moved it again. So, the big man in the middle, over 2 metres. Are they going to find him? Yes. On the spot.
Hazer. Oh, big drive, stayed on their feet beautifully.
Very impressive.
Terrific work, really, from the whole of the front row.
Oh, Berger shouldn't have kicked that. They had numbers on the short side. They had about 5 players to 3.
Oh, again, it's a scrappy play by Ireland, and the Namibians have got the ball back. And we've got front row forwards over on this side of the field saying, kick it to us. They're going to pass it there instead. Oh, and away. This time he's going to get there, not quite. Great tackle, but there's a boards there. And Nathan Hayes goes over for Namibia.
And the crowd are on their feet. Well, everyone except the Irish supporters are delighted. In fact, most of them are probably congratulating the Namibians because they are, I don't know.
Well, you just said that Vitboy looked a likely lad. Terrific run from him. And then when he needed the support, Nathan Hayes was there.
Well, I said likely lad because every time he's got the ball, he's had a go. He doesn't look to me like he wants to pass it too often. But in saying that, he was the man that offloaded for the try. Through the hole he goes. Beautiful tackle that was. Defending tackle, man and support. Good try.
Yeah, terrific. Andrew Trimble it was who got across to take him. But nevertheless,
well,
a big bonus. Namibia, a try on the board, and Ireland, only 27 points. They've got 4 tries, but that's all, and an hour gone.
Yeah, you have to say that individually, most of the Irish team have played quite well. I guess there've been a few drop balls on the wings. Not so much Trimble, but certainly Hickey. But apart from that, you'd say, where is the problem? Well, the problem is certainly continuity. It's certainly rhythm.
Oh, and it curls in beautifully. Everything going right. Vessels adds the conversion points. It's Ireland 27, Namibia 10. Vitboy doing so well. Now look at the joy there. Unrestrained joy from Jacques Nathan Hayes. Born in South Africa, played actually for South Africa under 21s, so he is not one of the local boys. There he goes again. Vessels with the clearance, safely into touch.
So Ireland desperately need a bit of a morale booster here. They want a bit of clean ball. And they want more depth, I think, in the back line. And just attack. Seems to be several attacking formations, of course, from a line out like this, but you can hit it flat, or you can hit it with depth, with runners going in different directions. You've got to win the ball first, though.
Oh, the jump slightly mistimed there. And nope, Blue have got it. Namibia beautifully put away again to Vitboy. Pushes it down the line. Darcy gathers it in and sets it up. Just really quick movements what they need, except that O'Gara goes for safety. Their confidence perhaps going a little bit too. Losper, full of confidence, throws to himself. Gets underway again, down the middle.
Pretty reasonable effort if they get the ball back, and they've got it.
Well, they've got one man over if they can work it. Backs against forwards. Oh, and it's a problem. It's a prop against the hook. No, it's a try. I think that's a try. He's gone to the 4th official, the television, but they know they've scored.
Well, you hear about the luck of the Irish, but I've never heard about the luck of the Namibians. But then they had a bit there. They had the bounce that went their way.
I don't think there's any doubt about it.
No, it looked pretty clear to me. Well, I thought it was going to go out here. He sort of stumbled a little bit. Didn't quite land on the line. Another speculator. Ears pinned back. That's definitely a try.
And that was Chaban-Delmas, the fullback, who couldn't stay with him.
And Pete Van Zyl was it who scored.
The centre, Pete Van Zyl. Well, has he got it under control all the way, or does he lose it just there?
I'll tell you what, if you turn that try down, you'll be pretty tough.
Oh, he's given it, thank goodness for that. I think it only bounced free once he'd actually got downward pressure on it. I'm sure that was the right decision. And Van Zyl gets the try he deserves.
Well, look at the face. A smile a mile wide. Very stimulating for these guys. The last try, of course, has lifted them and made it that much harder for Ireland to put it all together.
Wessels with the conversion. That's good as well, everything going their way. 27-17, Ireland lead.
Well, I'd hate to say it, perish the thought, in fact, but if Namibia scored next, just imagine the crowd and the Namibian players, they'd grow a metre in height each.
Oh, that was well picked up by Leamy. No knock on. Oh, I think he's called a knock on, and I think that was a bad decision too. I don't think that ball touched the floor.
I think it might have been a touch, judge's call. No, I thought he regathered it too, actually.
If you fumble the ball, providing you regather it before it touches the ground and no other player has touched it, it's good. Schackburger.
Well, he's had a pretty reasonable game. There's not a lot of him. He's fairly aggressive and hungry for the ball, Berger. What has he won? 88 and 100 kgs. It's a reasonable size. And he's going off.
Yeah, I think it's blood. He's got a cut there, I think, on his knee. I think he's got to get that fixed. I don't think he'll be gone for good. He's enjoying it too much.
Oh, yes, he's loving the moment. There's no doubt about that. You'd have to be pretty psyched up if you were sitting on the reserve bench and you could see Namibia scoring 2 tries and then you run on the field. Who is that man? Nobody in the crowd knows. And we're battling.
Tinus du Plessis comes on to replace him.
Oh, well done, John.
In comes Witboy to be the acting scrum half.
Oh, no.
But now back at the back again, we've got our little man Yuri van Tonder. And they've really got their tails up, you can see
Well,
it.
they have. It's figures. In fact, they've won that ball back.
Redling driving it up. He's made a difference since he's come onto the field. Mistake there between Losper and Witboy, but they've regained it.
And still got it by looks of things too.
And Ireland just can't get their hands on the ball. Witboy. Right, a big tackle. Have they got it down the Irish side this time? No, they fought their way back over it again.
Well, I guess that's about all you can do. Just clear it downfield.
Just bashed back downfield by Langenhofen. And Stringer now trying to give some shape to it. Oh! And the forward pass was first.
Well,
the pass was forward, so that's the first offence. And it will be a scrum down to Namibia.
I'll tell you what, if he had taken that intercept, I don't think he would have made it, but it would have put a bit of excitement into the crowd. But of course, this is the famous place, France, where they talk about le troisième mi-temps. You know what that's all about, Jean?
The third half, we know all about that.
I remember it was one of the first things I learned when I was playing rugby in France. They said le premier mi-temps c'est bon, le deuxième mi-temps c'est mieux, et le troisième mi-temps c'est le meilleur. And that's rough French. It means the third half is the best half.
Well, Ireland, I have to say, have lost their shape at the moment. They really do need to get themselves back into some sort of steadying position and build again from there. 2 tries to 1 to Namibia in the second half. Vessels pushes it down the left touchline. And it's a nice kick too.
Yeah, I'm normally opposed to kicking away possession, but I think in this situation it was a smart move by Namibia. They've got their tails in the end. They want to play it inside Irish territory. I think the Irish are up to moving it from inside their 22 there if they can win this ball, and they should. I mean, it's their line out, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them move it wide and try and beat them out wide.
Yeah, the trouble is they haven't done it very well, Murray, when they've tried to do it. They've just not been accurate enough. I think you're right. Namibia, I can't see them running in tries from 50 and 60 yards. Much better if they get into position, get the ball back, and then go absolutely hell for leather for the line from close quarters.
Whereas Ireland can do it on the side of their foot. They could split it open here and score at the other end. Let's see.
Stringer, O'Gara. Oh, and again the mistake. It's poor stuff. And Gordon Darcy unable to take O'Gara's pass.
But O'Gara was lucky to get his pass too, you know. It was really just pulled in from his fingertips. Have a look at that. Well, and there's nothing wrong with his pass, though, to Darcy. Just hasn't been their night, I guess.
In goes the drive again. Oh, and a penalty this time to Ireland, holding on the floor.
Release the ball, please. He's on the pitch.
Berger right back in the thick of things, having been patched up. Wasn't off long, was he?
No, he's pretty keen. But it was interesting, while he was off the field, they had one scrum. And they haven't cleared a scrum for a long time, but they cleared that one. And I guess it's a bit to do with their spirits being up. They were just that much stronger in the front row, that much more combined, I guess, as an 8. And they held the Irish back.
Right, O'Gara again goes himself this time. Really went for it. Well tackled, but Ireland have the penalty. They're playing advantage. Easterby took it back inside, diving in over the top. I think it was Berger.
Don't dive.
Well, O'Gara's not known for attacking the line, is he, like that? But I guess that happens with frustration. When things aren't going right, often players say, listen, I'm going to have a crack here, and don't think about it the same way.
Just a reminder, our next match, another Pool D game, Argentina versus Georgia from Lyon on Tuesday at 6:30. That's on ITV4. Then, of course, on Friday, it's the big game between the seeds in Pool A, England v South Africa from Stade de France. We'll be there from 7:30 on ITV1. Levy takes it up the middle, but gets rocked back. They've certainly been brave. O'Driscoll almost gets through, but they stripped the ball away from him as he went. You've got to say, this new young, well, Finsale's not so young, but they're new together. They've only won 1 cap each before this match. Piet Finsale and Bradley Langenhoven have done really well in the midfield, Murray.
That's a very well-known duo, isn't it? Just sort of reels off your tongue. Well, I think they've all done well, actually. I mean, 1 month together is all they've had. 1 month. I think they've been together as a squad for 2 months, but about eight of the squad were missing, weren't released from South African rugby, so it's been pretty tough.
It was quite funny, the coach saying, he said, "Hey, we've had the best ever preparation. We've had them full time for a couple of months, and then we pressed them on them." And he said, well, it was full time from 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock in the morning, from noon till 1 o'clock, and then again after 5 o'clock when they got home from work.
Yeah, and 8 players missing.
Absolutely. But certainly you're seeing the rewards. The IRB sent the money for a conditioning coach and a forwards coach to help them, and it looks to have paid off. I mean, this is a much better contest than I think anybody suspected.
Yes, but it's not enough, really. If they want to raise the level of second and third tier nations, they need more than £100,000, because that's what it amounts to. And I think the IRB have to understand that the flagship has got to do the business, not just grassroots. And a lot of money's been spent at grassroots, but the flagship is the national team, and if you can raise the bar there and get a bit of aspiration within the country, then it can help the whole thing.
Free kick against the Irish. And this has turned out to be a very difficult game for them. 72 minutes gone, and they're only leading 27-17. If this does come down to difference in points scored, they've not done themselves any favours at all. They've got the bonus point in the pool league table. That's the first most important thing. That's a huge kick if it's right. It's actually a brilliant kick. That was Hickey. Now a chance to pile on the pressure.
Well, I've never seen Hickey fumble a ball so much as I've seen it tonight. I mean, this is normal for him, is it?
No, absolutely not.
And there's certainly no dew out there. In fact, it's positively humid. It's lovely. Perfect conditions.
There's the throw from Namibia again. Nevenhuis doing really well in the middle of the line out. They try and run it out. Doesn't find touch. Trimble. This is Hickey. Oh, and again, that was a Namibian hand that got in. It wasn't a knock-on. Fitboy tries to move it away. Ireland trying to turn it over now. They desperately need ball. But Namibia have secured it. Well done them. Back from Fentonder. Poor kick from Osber.
Try time.
It's Neil Best who's now on. Oh, and it went backwards, but twice lost by O'Gara. And the put in, because they were going forward in a pile-up situation, goes to Namibia.
Oh, he had his eye off the ball then. Yes, that wasn't a knock-on. You did right. It was a hand that knocked it down. Well, Namibia would be delighted with their game, but in reflection, I guess the Irish camp would have to say, well, we came, we took our bonus point, and we're out of here. Let's put it behind us and move on. That's looking at the positive side.
I think that's exactly what they've got to do. Whether they really feel that is something else again. They cannot be happy with this performance.
And of course, they scored the 4th try before half-time, and wasn't a convincing effort at half-time.
Oh, and now Driscoll. Still he can't quite get away. Hickey in support, though, keeps it going. Ball comes back to Stringer. They've got surely an overlap here. And Little going over in the corner. I think it was Jerry Flannery who's come on.
Oh, it's definitely a try. Well, that's an example of what they can do, Ireland. Sparked again by O'Driscoll. They've got a lot more up their sleeve, I'm sure of that.
It is indeed Flannery, the replacement hooker, who's come on for best and gets over in the corner.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I'm not sure if he did.
Maybe not.
He was far too high. He should have got his body position low when he drove at it. And we thought it was a try, but when you look at that other angle, it looks like he grounded the ball short of the goal line.
Yeah, it's just a question of whether he held on while his momentum took him over. He might have done. It's one of those, the ball does often just spring loose once it's down. Now, at that point, has he still got control?
No, he hasn't. There's the ball back here.
I think you might be right.
Anyway, the try's been awarded.
And the crowd are onto it.
That's
Joël
irrelevant.
Jutge wonders what the diggins they're all complaining about. It's curling, but not enough.
Well, there'll be a day, John, that the referee will have a watch on his arm that'll have the replay and he'll be able to make his own third umpire decision.
You're right. They must be close to it already, but looks as if that was a little bit of a fortunate one. O'Driscoll did well. Hickey carried it on, impaled the forwards, and then away comes Flannery and...
Oh, you can see the ball is definitely short of the line there. It's still short of the line.
Driven up by Redlinges, and that's Losper. Good drive on through from Lagenhofen. Then goes Fintonder.
Well, able to recycle this team.
That's Losper, the fullback, getting into the acting scrum half position. Little ducking run from Heine Bock, the little winger.
Heine Bock. Well, he had a bit of a gap on the outside, but not much. Let's have a little look. He had a bit of an outside break too, but was never going to make it. So, Ireland to throw and Ireland to run it.
Less than 2 minutes to go. Ireland leading 32-17. In normal circumstances, you'd say a convincing win, but I'm absolutely sure that they were looking for more out of this than that. One more try would put a bit of a gloss on it for them. Can they do it? Flannery at the heart of that, driving it up. Just trying to get those Namibians onto the back foot before they release it. Back it comes now. Leamy there in support. Can they clear it quickly? And a penalty this time to Ireland. Hands in there. The ruck was formed. Quickly taken.
Well, they went 10 metres.
O'Connell getting in on the act. Hickey trying to go again. Stringer, ooh, shocking pass there to O'Driscoll, and he hacks it away upfield. He had no other choice. Vitboy prepared to give it a go against Trimble. Pulled into touch. Right, this might be the last line out for Ireland.
Ryan, give it a crack, Vitboy.
Dragged 3 of them in to take him into touch. He'll be happy with that.
Well, yeah, maybe, but it's Ireland ball, Irish ball, and I'm sure they're going to move it wide. They'd probably feel a lot better, wouldn't they, John, if they scored a try in the last minute from, from the 10 metre, from a line-out 10 metre.
Absolutely. They, at the moment,
32, that would take it up to 39 if they kick the goal. That would probably make them feel a little better.
Darcy gets away. That's almost the first time he's actually got away, even through a half break. Flannery into the move. Quick ball. Oh, it's still a bit slow. Oh, and Darcy again, Butterfingers. I don't think Ireland have actually knocked it on. Oh, they did, says the referee. And we're through the 80 minutes. It looks as if he's going to allow the scrum.
Wait, this is a long. Catch! Catch! Pause! Engage!
Nicely set up by Namibia. That's the skipper.
Oh, he got drilled.
Now, can Ireland get the ball back one more time? Berger puts it wide.
Well, they're still having a go, aren't they, Namibia? They're not kicking for touch.
I think they'll be thrilled to bits with this performance. And putting it off the park is Wessels. And interesting, because Joel Jutge seems to have lost track of the timing. He's just stopped the clock again at the moment for another replacement on the Namibian side.
Well, I guess we've had moments of very good play, haven't we, on occasions. I mean, the first moment I can think of is when Brian O'Driscoll scored that opening try. He really has got a spark, and you sort of sense that Ireland needs him.
Namibia come up with the ball yet again. Ireland have not been able to dominate in the way that they wanted to. Wessels puts it wide. Still, they're going to mount one more attack. And Losper knocks it forward, and the referee decides at last that is it. Ireland have won, but you can't say they won handsomely. They've achieved their first objective. 5 tries gives them the bonus point, and they're up at the top of the table in Pool D with Argentina, but it was a very different performance. The final score, Ireland 32, Namibia 17.
Well, the bare essentials achieved there by the Ireland side. They won't be happy at all with that. Namibia have done themselves proud. Plenty to talk about with Kenny and with Paul Wallace after the break.
Tough night for you. You've come out on top, but you can't be that pleased with the performance.
Oh no, it was pretty poor. It was probably our worst performance for a long time. You know, I thought we would have nerves at the start. We made some mistakes. We actually started reasonably well and put some scores on the board. And as the game went on, we got looser and looser, lost our shape, made a lot of individual errors, and the crowd got behind Namibia, and Namibia upped their game and played really well. So it was a really poor performance.